Hello, everyone. Let's get started with this. I'd like to go today over the art of balancing freedom and responsibility. This is a presentation that I made in English, sorry, in Portuguese actually, a few months ago. But now I'd like to do it in English to reach a broader audience on this discussion. So, oops. So my whole point here is that I think I learned most of this over the years, but a lot was inspired by my CEO when he brought me the discussion about Netflix values from several years ago, and I learned a lot about. I think that imprinted on me the mindset that I really wanna have on the teams I managed, and I think guiding my principles to hiring new people, guiding my decisions on how to run the teams that I run. So again, balancing the freedom and the responsibility on the job is what this will go over through the next few minutes. But basically, my perspective and my premise is that I'm talking about knowledge workers. For sure, I'm not referencing only software engineers or the software engineering realm, but yeah, this is the context where I'm inserted over the last few years. So this is where most of my actual examples are gonna draw from. Okay. Having said that, navigating ambiguity and wisdom, it's the first principle that I like to go over. And basically, what I'm trying to say here is unless you work for McDonald's or Nissan, making seats for, Pathfinder, you do not do the same task every single day unless you're frying burgers and doing the same burger every single minute and looking at the document telling you to put the lettuce on top of the ketchup or something. uh, the work you get on a daily basis, it's not all cooked and massaged and spoon fed to your mouth. You do need to handle uncertainty and questions that are not fully defined and clear. Yes, you are required to act and to generate value, but the world we live in right now is asking us to have opinions about everything at every single time, and more than ever, right? So there's a war, and everyone needs to have clear opinions on and points about it, or a presidential candidate, or the new technology on the block, or whatever. And a lot of us, we keep defensive because it's so hard to judge. It's so hard to judge. Uh, and the point here is yes, let's bring some wisdom to the table. Let's put together a mindset of, hey, I do not have the answer, but I have heuristics, I have patterns, I have a call to action where I will not freeze into the ambiguity. I will not forward my decision making to no one else, but I'll be clear on the principles and reasonings that I have put together. So this is what I'm calling wisdom here. Put together framework, make clear your intentions and go for it because there are things that require immediate attention and immediate action, and there are things that do not, and they can be incrementally improved over time. You need to pick your battles to find the ones that you want to fight now. With that in mind, I like to bring the topic of calmness and respect because I started the first slide mentioning, hey, we have this overwhelming feeling of lots being asked to act right now, and speed, speed, speed is what people are asking, and the world is asking to be fair. Uh, Calmness and respect is a premise to act on this fast-pacing world. There are moments and people who actually get overwhelmed by the needs of this dynamic environment that we live in. And the way they cope with, or the way they handle this, is by being aggressive, by requesting people to jump every time they ask jump. And this is not, again, the kind of work environment for knowledge workers that we expect and cherish and value, right? The challenges are going to be inevitable, but our response to them will define each one of us, and will probably cause a lasting impact on us and people around us. And that might be our family, our coworkers, whatever, people that cross our path. So staying calm regardless of the situation we are in is crucial. Again, it's not only about achieving the goals, but how we achieve them, and having respect for the people who are walking the path with us is essential. Uh, Again, as a software engineer or engineering manager, there's a lot of incident that we have to jump in, and obviously, for human-made products and services, the majority of the time, if something goes wrong, a human had to act on it. A human was the culprit. I would say that does not mean that human is more flawed or less important or less competent than anyone else in the room, myself included. So, having that level of respect by the people involved is definitely essential to move forward. With that, I'd like to talk about results over processes, and that is not to contrast with what I just said. It is to sum and add on top of it. At the end of the day, we are all focused on a results-driven culture. So action is definitely more valued on top of a perfect planning. That's my opinion. That's how I see leaders uh, implementing things. There are there is value in being uh, cautious. There is value in putting efforts such as making research papers that go over years and years and dozens of years, uh, up until a moment where they come to a conclusion backed by a long um, time frame of studies. Sure, there's a lot of that, but there is also the I'm gonna spend a few days, a couple of days, a week thinking about something, and I'm gonna be putting code out. I'm gonna putting together POC. There is value into spend a couple hours talking to someone about it, and then grabbing your phone and making a call to, let's say you're talking about a potential business idea, and then you could put it together a business plan that takes months to come to market conclusions and stuff. But you could also pick the phone and call three potential customers and say, hey, if I put together this product or service, would you buy it? So again, being inclined to action, it's something that most of the time we neglect because of fear, because of looking into your peers and not seeing the same action from them, and not seeing the same behavior from them. But I would advise you against a comparison. Go for it. There's so many of us in the struggle. There's so many. I do like martial arts a lot, BJJ specifically, and if you talk to the guys who are the top of the chain, the best ones, they always say, "Hey, the struggle's real. The first fight is always the worst because you don't know how you're gonna react the first day, after the first fight, after the first step, after the first, you know, time that you mm, shock, touch your hands with your opponent, everything gets better because now you took the first step. you acted on it, and everything else is just like story. So yeah, once again, look to be proactive and to foster a productive environment. Again, talking a lot about that's the reason of this background, to be clear, okay? Talking about the whole ecosystem of bacteria and viruses and wave breaking is cool, but hey, the whole idea is it's raining, it's gonna rain, and that's it. Just go and do it. um Now I like to go again, start going to the end of it, talking about understanding context. Again, because of AI, because of internet, because of Slack and remote work and 349 channels that you have to pay attention daily, or at least you have to be aware they exist and be notified by them. People with different perspectives messaging things and asking for immediate action on 300 different topics. So understanding the context where you operate and the value that you are bringing, unique value that you're bringing to the organization, it's essential. Yeah, sure, 200 other issues can be handled by you, but also by at least someone else. 10 issues can only be handled by you. And out of those 10 issues, some are time pressed, some are essential, crucial, but are not time pressed. And this balancing act on your context is something that there's no rule of thumb. You need to be conscious and aware of your responsibility, the expectations people have around you, and act on it. So, taking this holistic step, looking at the forest, not only the trees, and then jumping in and deciding to zoom in into a specific decision and solution, it's where part of the ambiguity and the wisdom that I referred back earlier jump and shine. um, Simplicity in complexity, that's something that I'm really proud of, because complex systems that we live and navigate in are really really uh, pertinent to the jobs to the job of software engineer, for instance. And again, bringing back to my personal challenges, and finding the simplicity within a solution is really skill, right? It's really really a skill. Regularly we are challenging assumptions, and challenging these assumptions a lot of times lead us to go breakthrough to breakthroughs, and to go us to take us into innovative paths. So making something really, really convoluted and smart is awesome. I was watching a React query presentation recently, explaining the whole intricacies that you have to use React hooks, like use query and use effect and use state, and how if you use query, you're gonna be abstracting a whole lot of that. And yeah, 100%. That simplicity that sometimes we are exposed using a newly formed lib is something that does not come without trade-offs, but it is something that brings us to the next level. Um, Finally, courage in decision making is something that I would call essential to managers, business leaders, but also to individual contributors. Um, you are supposed, if you go through the framework that I mentioned so far, and you know there are things that you alone is the most capable person on doing it, express your opinion and your decision and your point of view as much as possible with a stable mind, or with a confidence and courageous action, because no one else is going to be better capable of taking that action than you. Not your manager, not your peers, and definitely not people looking from the outside. So you should establish uh, your expertise and be confident when you manifest your opinion about it. My whole point here is that a lot of us are relying on hierarchical structure and relying on other people to take the important decisions on the job. Sometimes about a library to be used, sometimes about a code statement that you want to go for, sometimes about dropping a requirement or not. Please do not neglect your ownership and your position into all of this. We are a motto that I have in my current company is we are all owners of the company. So act as such. Even if your company does not treat you like that, even if your company does not have a motto or slogan or a value like that, whatever you work, treat your company as if it was yours. Then tell me later how do you see this changing your career.